Hey guys, Graham from Boost Performance here. I'm on site here this week doing some dyno tuning. I've got a lot of Subarus to do for our friends over at 6 Star Motorsports, and I've also got cars here like the GR Corolla to do for the guys at LIMIT+1. I've actually got my own GR Corolla with me this week because we are on the way out to Grid Life this weekend to race the car in Club TR. As you guys saw in other videos, the guys here at LIMIT+1 just did a bunch of engine work on this car. We did the valve springs, we did head studs, head gasket, clutch, and recently put the 6th charge pipes on the car, which really smoothed out the boost quite a bit. And then today I had them put a catch can on the car as well. It's good to have when we're going to go racing. And now we're doing some dyno tuning on the car, just kind of checking everything over before we go racing. I figured that's a good time to take the opportunity to walk through all of the Ecutek RaceROM features with you guys. Kind of explain how they all work and give you guys a bit of a demo on that too. So let's jump into that. All right guys, I'm going to talk through an overview of how the map switching works and also explain all the RaceROM features. Then what we'll do is I'll demonstrate the launch control. I will demonstrate the rolling anti-lag. I'm not going to flat foot shift because we're on the dyno, and sometimes that can be a little bit weird. That's pretty self-explanatory though. So let's talk about how each thing works right now. So if map switching is enabled and you have multiple maps, I want to show you guys how you'll switch. Now, a lot of times we're just going to do one map if there's really no need. If you're not running your car on the track, you'll just have one map, so this won't apply. But in case you do have a second map, this is how you switch it. With the car running, or as long as the ignition is at least on, what you do is hold the cancel button and you'll watch your RPMs there. It'll bounce to the number to indicate what mode you're in. So it bounced to 1000 or 1 to indicate I'm in mode 1. When it's indicating the mode, you can use the cruise control resume up or resume down to switch the modes. So I'll demonstrate going to mode 2. I'll hold the cancel button, click up to mode 2. Now if I don't do anything, it will select mode 2. If I want to verify I'm in mode 2, I can hold the cancel button again and I can see I'm in mode 2. You can also hold the button, click down to the mode you want, and hit cancel again to confirm that mode immediately. So that is how you switch the modes using the cruise control buttons. Alternatively, you can go and connect to the Ecutek Connect app, and if map switching is enabled, you'll see this selection for it here. And also whatever labels we've picked for your modes will be described here. So for example, street mode in mode 1 or track mode in mode 2. If I click 2, now we're in mode 2. If I come back over here and hold the cancel button, you'll see I'm in mode 2. So it can be switched from the car or from the app. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so for launch control, that's going to work when you're stationary and you want to launch the car. You're going to want to have the traction control off. I recommend being in sport mode, but as long as traction control off, you are good there. Clutch in gear, and the important thing is to peg the pedal to the floor immediately. You don't want to go real slow on it because if you get past the activation point, it won't work. So you deliberately put the pedal to the floor and it will bring the RPMs and hold them at the target value. Typically on stock clutch cars, we're going to put that around 4,000 RPM. These cars launch really well from closer to 5,000, but the clutch can't really take that very well if it's in stock form. If you upgrade your clutch, you can go a little higher. You can adjust the RPM point using the cruise control resume plus and minus buttons. You do that while you're activating the launch control. Now you don't want to be sitting there for a long time on launch control making a ton of noise. It's not good for the engine to be sitting there for long periods, but you bring it up on launch control, you click the up button, you'll change it by 200 RPM, or the down button down by 200. So you could click it a couple times, bring it up to 5,000, let off, and that's going to be set at 5,000. You can launch from that RPM now. So that's the launch control. Flat foot shifting is exactly what it sounds like. You are going to be able to shift gears without having to lift the throttle, essentially. So if I'm doing a normal 3/4 shift, I'd be full throttle, I'd clutch, I'd lift, I'd shift, I'd go back on the pedal. I don't have to do that with the flat foot shifting. Now this feature only works if you choose to use it. It doesn't affect the way the car shifts otherwise. But you definitely want to spend some time practicing this if you want to use it, and be very careful, because if you're too worried about what you're doing with your feet and you click into the wrong gear, you can money shift the car or over rev it, and that can be very dangerous to the engine. So it's very important to take your time with the shifting and make sure you're hitting your shifts rather than trying to hammer it through the gears really fast and, you know, doing a 121 or something like that. You don't want to do that. I recommend practicing on the 3/4 shift because it's a slower speed, it's more controlled. You're going to be able to kind of get that feel and kind of build that muscle memory of keeping your foot down. But you're essentially going to be full throttle through third when you're ready to shift, clutch, fourth, out, leaving the gas pedal all the way to the floor. So that's flat foot shifting. I don't recommend just driving around doing it all the time just for fun. You know, it's a little harder on the drivetrain. You're removing and reintroducing torque in a much more abrupt manner. But if you're racing the car and you're trying to get a 1/4 mile time, or you want to make sure you beat your buddy in a race who always beats you, that can give you a nice advantage because it'll hold the boost between the shifts. So that's the flat foot shift. The third and final feature that's kind of fun is the rolling anti-lag. The idea there is that the Tune creates a stationary rev limiter, and it holds the speed at which you're at when you activate the feature. So if you are, say, roll racing and you want to take off with boost without having to, brake boost or do other things, this is what that feature does, is it basically holds that speed and lets it build boost. What you would be doing there is you want to make sure that you're up at the point where the car actually makes some power. I don't recommend trying to use rolling anti-lag anywhere below 4,000 RPM. That would be silly and a little bit hard on things. So be up at least 4,000 RPMs. You don't want to be real close to redline either because you're not going to really have very much room to go before you have to shift. So between 4,000 and 5,000 in the gear you want to be in at your given speed. You're going to be driving along maintaining speed. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold the cruise control resume minus button to activate the feature, and then you're going to go full throttle at the same time. What you're going to feel is the car's going to basically have a speed or rev limit it's just going to kind of hold against. You're going to hear that. You're going to see your boost pressure is going to build up. When you're ready to launch, you simply let go of the button, keeping the accelerator pedal all the way on the floor, and you'll immediately take off into boost. Now there is a 4-second timeout that we set, so if you sit here and just hold this for 4 seconds, it will stop. That's to protect the engine, protect the valves. You do create a lot of heat when you're sitting there like that. There's also a 10-second reset period, meaning that if you just used it and you didn't go and you let off, you got to wait 10 seconds to try it again. That is how the rolling launch control works.